PR Connections Radio presents.
Welcome to Vegas Hockey Hub here on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. I'm your host, Ian Rachiele. And on this edition of Vegas Hockey Hub Recap, we're going to break down every single game during the Vegas Golden Knights 2023-2024 season. We're going to be talking about the most recent game that happened with your Vegas Golden Knights. So this is going to be a great episode to record and broadcast to everybody all around the world, and more importantly, here on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. And if you haven't gone to the website yet, check out all the shows we have on the network. We have about a dozen shows, including Vegas Hockey Hub. So go to PRConnectionsRadio.com, or if you want to go to our social medias at Vegas Hockey Hub. We're on all major social media platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. We are everywhere at Vegas Hockey Hub. And if you want to follow your host, I am on all social media platforms as well at Ian J. Rachiele. And we have a sponsor to PR Connections Radio that I do have to shout out. Go to paidperletter.com and use the link paidperletter.com/Uncle Dan to get started. So if you want to get paid per letter, go to their website and get started today. Now, this upcoming game that we're talking about, obviously, it is at T-Mobile Arena. It's at the Fortress here in Vegas, and it's going up against one of the most iconic teams in the Eastern Conference, one of the most legacy, historic teams that have ever come out of the NHL. Of course, I am talking about our neighbors up north, and that is the Toronto Maple Leafs. And this is actually going to be a funny situation because you rarely see this in the schedule, but it does happen once or twice a year. The Toronto Maple Leafs are going to face Vegas today. And then next week, we are going to go to Toronto and face the Maple Leafs. Now, you may not remember this, but in January, this was the first time that this happened. This will be the second time, where the Vegas Golden Knights faced an opponent in Vegas. And then the next week, they went on the road and faced that same opponent. So essentially, back-to-back weeks, they took on the same team. So yeah, Toronto Maple Leafs is going to be the first of two games over the last 2 weeks, and we're going to be going up against Toronto. Now, the injury updates. And I'm saying updates because there are a bunch of them that we have to talk about. And the most important one, the one that happened most recently that is so big and crucial to your Vegas Golden Knights, is Mark Stone. Now, our general manager, Kelly McCrimmon, he has come out and said that he will be out for a while. Now, the Vegas Golden Knights organization, that is all has been reported as of now. We're going to get more information as time goes on for sure. But Kelly McCrimmon at Morning Skate said that he will be out for a while. I know Sinbin Vegas said that according to their sources, it is not his back. So hopefully that's good news there. But all the information we have got on Mark Stone is that he will be out for a while. You're not going to see him in the starting lineup for the Vegas Golden Knights for a while. So that's the information on Mark Stone. But the good news is Jack Eichel is traveling with the team. Now, he is not 100% yet. Okay, Jack Eichel, he is still rehabbing, he is still trying to get back to the organization, but Jack Eichel will be traveling with the team when they do their Northeast road trip. So the upcoming road trip, where it's going to be Ottawa, where it's going to be Toronto, Boston, Buffalo, that stand, Jack Eichel will be joining the team, and he will be going on the road with your Vegas Golden Knights. That's good news there about Jack Eichel. Unfortunately, I do have to say that when it comes to Jack Eichel, it's like 50-50 that he plays. And if he does, I wouldn't be shocked if it's either in his hometown, because he is from Boston, or against his former team in Buffalo. All right? If I had to speculate, I would say that if he plays at all on the road trip, Boston or Buffalo would probably be the best bet. So next on the injury update is Brett Howden. And Brett Howden, he is going to be day-to-day in the Vegas Golden Knights organization. He has an upper body injury that he has suffered recently with your Vegas Golden Knights. So, unfortunately, that is the situation with Brett Howden. Now, he has been on the second line, third line for Vegas over the past couple of weeks. But when it comes to Brett Howden, this is just a situation where he is out of the lineup for now. Brennan Brisson, Byron Frazee, Sheldon Rempel, I know those guys got called up from Henderson very recently because of all the injuries that have happened to your Vegas Golden Knights. But Brett Howden, upper body injury, he is day-to-day. He did not play against Toronto. Jack Eichel did not play. Mark Stone definitely did not play. And one person who also did not play against the Toronto Maple Leafs is Pavel Dorofeev. And unfortunately, there is no progress or no update on Pavel Dorofeev. Now, for anybody who remembers, he took a hit from Jacob Trouba in the New York Rangers game about a month ago. And unfortunately, he has just not recovered. There's no progression there. So Pavel Dorofeev is a mystery at this point. Because ever since the New York Rangers game, ever since he went down with that hit from Trouba, he has just not come back. There's no update about his rehab. There's no update about him trying to come back for morning skate, him practicing with the team. There's really been no update at all about Pavel Dorofeev. So that's just an unfortunate situation there. A really young, up-and-coming guy with the Vegas Golden Knights. I like what I saw from him to begin the year. If you ask my opinion, he is a guy who has top 6 capabilities in Vegas. And William Carrier is really the final of the major injury update here with your Vegas Golden Knights, as William Carrier is now skating around, but it's going to be in solo practices. Like, if anybody who knows City National Arena, you know you have Rink A and you have Rink B. Well, it's been reported that William Carrier is skating around, trying to get himself back to the Golden Knights organization, trying to get his feet under him, but he is not skating with the team. He's not practicing with the organization as a unit. He is doing a lot of this on his own right now, and that's William Carrier. So, William Carrier, he's skating around, but William Carrier is skating around, but he's not with the Golden Knights organization at this moment in time. And the one last injury update that I do have to mention, it is minor, okay? It is a minor injury. He is going to play for against Toronto, but Jonathan Marchessault has been playing through injuries. And despite him scoring a bunch of goals lately, it has been reported that he has actually been playing hurt. So as long as he can play through it, and as long as Jonathan Marchessault is willing to kind of absorb the pain and go out there and play for your Vegas Golden Knights. But yes, it was reported during the Nashville game that Jonathan Marchessault has been playing for about a week now while being hurt. So hopefully it doesn't develop into a long-term injury. Hopefully Jonathan Marchessault is able to just, rehab during time off, or, when there's a day or two they don't have to play. He's, in there rehabbing, trying to get it healed or whatever. But yeah, Jonathan Marchessault, minor injury for him, something that we just have to watch with your Vegas Golden Knights. So before we get into the rest of the pregame notes, just a quick injury update. So Mark Stone out for a while. Jack Eichel practicing with the team. He'll be on the road with your Vegas Golden Knights. Pavel Dorofeev not making any progress after that hit from Jacob Trouba. We don't know when he's going to come back. Brett Howden is day-to-day with a upper body injury. William Carrier is skating on his own, but he is not back with the organization in terms of morning skate. And then there is a minor injury for Jonathan Marchessault. That's a bit concerning, but I just want to watch out and see what happens there. So overall, the injury bug, as we titled our video against the Nashville Predators, the injury bug, yeah, it's definitely affected the Vegas Golden Knights. I mean, just look at the name and the list of people here that we have on this list when it comes to injury updates, not just injury update. Now, in net for your Vegas Golden Knights against Toronto would be Adin Hill. Now, Adin Hill, he did have an unfortunate last outing for your Vegas Golden Knights. Hopefully he can shake it off. He could rebound. He could have a better performance in this game. Aiden Hill has really been a tale of two stories, or should I say tale of two halves, if you will. When he first came in to begin the season, he was red hot. He was one of the best goalies in hockey. He was an all-star candidate for the Vegas Golden Knights. Then he gets hurt against the Vancouver Canucks. He tries to come back afterwards, and then he gets hurt again against Ottawa, and he had to come back out. And then he returns in January, and he had a 4 or 5 game run where he was just racking up wins, looking excellent, seeing like he's back to being who Aiden Hill was. But the last 2 games have been shaky for Aiden Hill. So getting into the game itself at the Fortress, at T-Mobile Arena, Vegas Golden Knights and Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, the starting lineup for this game is a bit interesting because the first line is Barbashev, Waugh, and Marchessault. The second line is a big difference because of an injury. So on the second line, you have Michael Amadio, Chandler Stevenson, and William Karlsson on line 2. On line 3, you have Paul Cotter. You have Paul Cotter alongside Brendan Bryson and Byron Froese. And then line 4, you have Mason Morelli, Sheldon Rempel, and Keegan Kolazar. So yes, a big difference in the lineups here. Obviously, because Mark Stone's out. Brett Howden, he's going to be out because of day-to-day with upper body injury. So because Howden's gone and because of your captain being gone, that means that they essentially had to move up a few people. That means that Michael Amadio is no longer on the fourth line like he was with Morelli and Kolazar recently. He is now back on the middle 6 with your Vegas Golden Knights. Brendan Bryson, welcome back to him. He is on the middle 6 for Vegas. And then you have Byron Froese, Sheldon Rempel, Mason Morelli on that same line. Those AHL guys for Vegas kind of being around there. So really interesting when it comes to the starting lineup and seeing what your Vegas Golden Knights are doing in terms of the lines. Now defensively, it's kind of been the same. Defensively, you have Hagen, Whitecloud, Martinez and Pietrangelo, McNabb and Theodore as your defensive pairings in this matchup against the Toronto Maple Leafs, with Aiden Hill starting out in net for your Vegas Golden Knights. And kicking this game off, as it was a 7 p.m. puck drop like it normally is. And one thing I have to give credit to is that there was no penalties for Vegas in the first period. If there's any positive I'm going to give on this recap, is that the Vegas Golden Knights had discipline in this game. Is that Vegas only had 2 penalties in this game, despite how bad it's going to be moving forward. I'm just happy that the Vegas Golden Knights actually stayed out of the penalty box more than they should have. And this is a Vegas Golden Knights team who discipline has been a bright spot this year. So only 2 penalties in this game for Vegas as they took on Toronto. And those 2 penalties, by the way, I'm just going to go off script here. Zach Whitecloud had a holding penalty in the second period, and then Paul Cotter had a cross-checking penalty in the second period. Now, the Vegas Golden Knights went 2 for 2 on the penalty kill. That was good there. Now, getting into the scoring for Toronto, because this is just a Toronto domination in this game. Halfway into the first period, Jake McCabe with his 6th goal of the season to put Toronto up by 1. Now, the Toronto Maple Leafs, this is just unfortunately one of the most explosive teams on offense. This is a Toronto Maple Leafs team that when they score, they like to score in droves. And for Jake McCabe, hit the first goal of the game, 6th goal of the season for him. Unassisted, by the way, for Jake McCabe. And this was a situation where your Vegas Golden Knights, after the halfway of the first period, they looked terrible. Like, there's no nice way to say it. There's no professional way to really put this, except the Vegas Golden Knights in this game looked like they were a borderline playoff team going up against an established playoff team. So Jake McCabe puts them up by 1, and then a minute later, the Toronto Maple Leafs would go up 2-0 in this game. And despite the fact that Ryan Reeves, had an assist on this play, it doesn't matter. The Vegas Golden Knights being down 2-0 and getting back-to-back goals scored on them within a minute was unfortunate. Like, seriously, this was an unfortunate game to watch. If you were somebody who was forced to watch this game, I apologize. If you were somebody who had to go to the game, man, this was terrible for you. This is by far, and this is no hyperbole, one of the worst games we've seen all year. I can say that at least when we got shut out by Seattle, Vegas showed some hustle. When Vegas got shut out a few times this year, I can at least say that the goaltending wasn't the problem. Oh my gosh, the goaltending was the major problem in this game, and I actually will explain what happened later with the goaltending. Because 3 minutes after this goal, Toronto's up 2-0, right? John Tavares, with his 17th goal of the season, assisted by Bobby McMahon and Nicholas Robertson, to be a 3-0 game for Toronto. And I know a lot of people put their hands up. They were frustrated. They were upset. I know people at T-Mobile Arena were probably not wanting this game to go the way it did, because this was just a bad performance in the first period. There's just not many positives I can give except for the penalty kill and the discipline side of it. That's it. That's really all I can say in terms of positivity with your Vegas Golden Knights game here. Michael Amadio, he did pretty well tonight. I will say that when it came to him, this is somebody who had 2 hits in the game. He had a blocked shot. He had a couple of shots in the game. All right, Michael Amadio was a bright spot. But this right here was unfortunate. The fact that John Tavares had his 17th goal of the season and Toronto was up by 3, and it's not even the end of the first period yet, that just really set the tone for how bad this game was. And I don't know if it's because it's Toronto, and maybe it's because I have like a little ounce of respect for the Maple Leafs, and one day maybe they will win a Stanley Cup, maybe when I'm alive, or maybe I'm dead. I don't know. But when the Toronto Maple Leafs beat you like they did tonight, it just tells you that when it comes to Toronto Maple Leafs, they're either going to be legit Stanley Cup contenders or they're going to lose in the first round to Tampa Bay. Or, since they've done it for the last decade, they're going to go up against Boston somehow, and they're going to find a way to lose in the first round. Because the way the NHL playoffs are set up, there's really no middle ground here. Either the Maple Leafs are going to go all the way, and they're going to make a historic run, or they're going to lose in the first round. There's no middle here. Now, getting back into the game itself, I'm sorry. I'm not an outside type of person, so I like to vent just a little bit. Now, 2 minutes later, in the first period, we're still in the first period, by the way, Max Domi, with his 6th goal of the season, assisted by Tyler Bertuzzi and William Nylander, to be a 4-0 game. When you're talking about generational talent, you have Domi, Bertuzzi, and Nylander. I mean, wow. Talking about people who are second generation, third generation talent on the same team. Wow. Okay. Overall, when it comes to Toronto Maple Leafs, they just had pure domination in this game. But this goal right here was the tipping point. Oh, yes, this goal was the tipping point for your Vegas Golden Knights, because for the second time this year, you would have a goaltender change in the middle of a game, as Adin Hill, for the second time this season, was pulled for Logan Thompson. So after allowing 4 goals to be given up, they said, you know what? You are done. Logan Thompson, you go in the game. Adin Hill, you're out. You're done. And, I'm not trying to be overly critical. I'm not trying to be harsh. But this was by far the worst I have seen from Adin Hill since Ottawa. But I will give Ottawa a pass because he got re-injured in that game. At least Ottawa, when he got injured, there was a reason why he wasn't playing that well. What's the explanation for this? Adin Hill just did not look good in this game. It was a struggle, to say the least. I mean, look at the scorecard for Adin Hill. He had 17 saves on 20 shots, a save percentage of 85.0, and only was on the ice for less than 20 minutes. I mean, this was just a really bad game for Adin Hill. And then Logan Thompson came in, tried to help out with the bleeding, but Logan Thompson just could not fix it. He could not patch a bullet wound with it's like they say back in the day, right? You can't patch a bullet wound with Scotch tape. And that's what they tried to do, and that just unfortunately did not happen in this game. So Adin Hill getting pulled for Logan Thompson after a horrific first period for Adin Hill. And it's just a reality that when it comes to Adin Hill, this is just by far one of the worst performances we have seen in a while for Vegas, for Adin Hill. This is a game that a lot of people are going to want to forget. I want to forget it, and I just saw the bloody thing. So this was the end of the first period, but there was one final update that happened, and this is not good news considering the injury bug, but Paul Cotter got hurt towards the end of the first period. There was just a bad play that happened, and he kind of, took a while to get back up, and then he skated over to the bench. So Paul Cotter seems like maybe he got injured in this game. He did come back after a little bit, but yeah, him coming down, kind of an awkward angle there. So hopefully Paul Cotter does not miss any time for your Vegas Golden Knights. But, first period, just pure devastation for your Vegas Golden Knights. This was just pure domination by Toronto and the destruction that they did. And it was a 4-0 game. And by the way, we're still in the first period, by the way. Look at the time. We're still in the first period because of what Toronto did on a four-goal performance in the first period. Now, to start the second period, let's get back down to some positives. William Karlsson with his 19th goal of the season, assisted by Jonathan Marchessault and Shea Theodore to ensure that your Vegas Golden Knights would not be shut out in this game. So, hey, congratulations. You did not get shut out. Now, you were down by 3 goals still. And if there was any chance of pulling any amount of a comeback, it was going to have to be done now. And what ended up happening in this game, you might ask? Did Vegas make a comeback? Did Vegas find a way to make a statement and come back from a 4-0 deficit? Well, I'm going to let you take a guess what happened. Look at the name on the YouTube video, look at the box score, and you ask yourself, did we come back in this game? Because halfway into the second period, Max freaking Domi with his second goal of the game, his 7th of the season, assisted by Mitch Marner and Simeon Benoit to be a 5-1 game for Toronto. And the energy was left out of the building. They were depleted. Fans were heading to turnstiles. They were heading home. They were going to go take the bus. They were going to get an Uber. They were done with this game. And honestly, I don't blame them. Because this was just a terrible matchup. This was just a really bad game. And hopefully Vegas can turn it around when they go to Toronto. But I have no promises there. So, Max Domi, second goal of the game. For somebody who doesn't score a lot of goals, he really scored against Vegas for sure. And that was Max Domi. So, yeah, Max Domi, I just have to say, 7th goal of the season. Congratulations to you. Second-generation superstar, son of Ty Domi. And, a few minutes later, the Toronto Maple Leafs would add more to the goals as Pontus Holmberg would have his 3rd goal of the season, and Toronto would be up 6-1. 6-1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In Vegas, just 1. I'm not putting this on Logan Thompson. I'm not. I'm not putting this on LT. I'm not putting this on the defense, even though outside of Shea Theodore, can you please, for the love of Almighty, stop turning over the puck? Okay, there was a giveaway that happened in this game that made me want to lose my mental sanity. But overall, this was just a bad 60 minutes by the entire organization. This was a game that you delete the film footage, you delete the tape, and you pray that nobody finds it later. And you know what? Third period, 1 minute in, Jonathan Marchessault scores. Okay, all right, fine. All right, Jonathan Marchessault scores. Good for him. Brendan Bryson with the assist. Good. Shea Theodore with the assist. Incredible. But by the third period, I didn't care. You didn't care. You didn't care that they scored goals in back-to-back minutes because you were already down 6-1. And that's the way it felt like in this game. It was just a really bad game overall for Vegas. There's no nice way to put it. So despite the fact that William Karlsson scored in the second period to make sure they weren't shut out, Jonathan Marchessault scored to make sure that his point streak and the amount of goals he has scored in the last month keeps going up. That's great. Or the fact that, you had Michael Amadio, who half a minute after the Jonathan Marchessault goal, he scored. But unless the Vegas Golden Knights were going to score 4 more goals, it wasn't going to happen. Michael Amadio, 10th goal of the season. Chandler Stevenson with the assist. Ivan Barbashev with the assist. Congratulations. All right, good for them. Okay? But by the second period, I was done with the game. By the third period, I wanted it to be over. But you know who didn't want the game to be over? You know what player wanted to sit there, sit at the right circle, and say, you know what, give me the puck because I still need to score a goal. You know who decided to brace us with his presence and score because he's trying to get to 70 goals for the first time in forever? People in Toronto, you already know who I'm talking about. This guy's on a elusive run. He's doing a great streak right now. And, of course, I'm talking about the guy who just scored his 52nd goal of the season. I'm talking about Austin Matthews. Now, I will give credit. Austin Matthews is one of the most elite goal scorers we've ever seen in my lifetime, okay? Austin Matthews, top 3 player in the league. You got McDavid, you have McKinnon, and you have Matthews. I acknowledge that. But Austin Matthews scoring the last goal in this game, even though they're already up by 3, Austin Matthews scores his 52nd goal of the season. Mitch Marner assisted on it. Pontus Holmberg, he assisted on it. Okay, cool. Good for them. I think Mitch Marner had 5,000 assists in this game. That's what it felt like. But when it comes to Austin Matthews, 52nd goal of the season. Now, we have time left. Can he get to that number? Can he be the first guy in the modern era to get to that many goals? We'll have to wait and see. So, yeah, this is the win-loss record for your Vegas Golden Knights. They're still battling in the Pacific Division. Vancouver is already pulling away. We know that. Edmonton, LA, they're kind of in the crosshairs right now for Vegas. But I don't even want to talk about the division. I don't even want to talk about the upcoming game that we're going to have to focus on. I don't want to talk about that. Because this game right here is the worst game we have seen this year. It was worse than the Winter Classic. It was worse than Colorado when we got shut out by them. This is the worst game we've had all year. Start over. Hit restart on NHL 24. Delete this game. Because no positive came from it. There was no good that came from this game. And hopefully when Vegas goes and actually plays them next week, we can actually say that we're going to win that game. Hopefully get a little bit of revenge there. Player of the game, by the way, I'm giving it to Alec Martinez because why not? Granted, if there was any game to not get a player of the game, it would have been this one. But Alec Martinez, all right, player of the game, good for you. So this was Vegas Hockey Hub Recap. I'm your host, Ian Rachiele. And continue watching hockey. Go support junior hockey. Go to prconnectionsradio.com, the voice of new media. Check out all the content we have on there. And follow us on social media at Vegas Hockey Hub. And follow your host at Ian J. Rachiele. And have a good one. And let's delete this game from our mind.
PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.